Allegedly, an ex-id Software employee dropped some new bombs on Hugo and Marty both. However, I've actually spoken to someone who worked there and I've done some digging, and I think that I've gotten to the bottom of this mess. Let's check it out. So following the huge Mick Gordon news from the other day, we have a post on Reddit from ex-id Software Anani, who decided to go ahead and reveal some new information to us about this Mick situation and things around it rather. He says, "I post anonymously because it's a small game industry. Basically, can confirm Marty is a huge narcissist. I left along with many others over the years because I couldn't stand to work for him. He'd throw tantrums like a spoiled child when he was upset, throwing chairs, shouting, and storming off at times." Now, this person mentions Hugo in just a moment, but what I found really interesting was that this person says they are from id Software, but they have no way to substantiate this evidence. So what do? You ask the person who actually used to work there, and what did this person say? So let's take a peek here. This is from an actual confirmed id Software employee. I am able to verify this. Now, this person recently left id on good terms to pursue some other endeavors in game design. However, doesn't that make you think that he doesn't really have a reason to try to defend and just wants to get the word out since, he experienced it firsthand? I've worked at a lot of companies, and id Software is one of the best. They really take care of their people, and it was some of the best years of my career. From my experience, Marty and Hugo and all the senior leadership were extremely transparent, and I have immense respect for them. And he said, some anecdotal thoughts. While we were in the office before COVID, Marty had his desk out in the middle of the dev team and was always happy to chat. I really appreciated that because he wasn't just some unapproachable guy. When we were in the office, Marty would personally stop by and give you your bonus and other important career information. It wouldn't just be a copy and pasted in personal email. Running a large studio is no joke, and he found the time to do this, and it speaks to who he is, in my opinion. We used to have monthly meetings in the studio's theater room where we would all pile in together, and he would often give details on the behind-the-scenes stuff happening, and I was always impressed with his transparency, the good and the bad. I met Marty years before when I was a college kid attending QuakeCon as an id Software fanboy. My memory of him being friendly and down-to-earth as a fan was the same experience working underneath him. He then later goes on to say that it does look like there's some serious concerns, but I want to say as someone who worked with Marty for 4 years that I trust him and respect him immensely. It was a privilege to work with him. Now, this person also said that this was a character lapse for Marty, that he didn't expect this to happen. And now, of course, just because you see one side of someone doesn't mean that you see the other, which also ties into Hugo here in just a moment with what information that we have here. And unfortunately, as Twitter is wont to do sometimes, people jumped on this person, who is a great guy, by the way, and said, "Oh, you're a Marty apologist," more or less. However, these people have no idea the point and the reason why he made his original post. They don't know that we had talked about this and some other things. They just don't know the full story behind it. So it's always important, because someone makes a post, if you think that you know why they did it, there might be some other reasons that you don't know. No, there was no brown nosing or any of that. So just be careful before you make assumptions about things on the internet and what people really think behind the post. So the whole point of what I just mentioned was not to say, is Marty good, is Marty bad? I really hope, like I said in my past video, if you've not seen it, that he is a good guy. But we have such contrasting opinions. Now, at first we're like, oh, Marty is really good to his id Software employees, but not his contractors. But now we see someone who is allegedly an id Software employee saying he throws temper tantrums like a toddler, and then someone who actually worked there in the day-to-day say, no, he never really did any of that. If he was out in the floor, in the middle, this whole time, actively involved with the workers, it would be kind of hard to throw tantrums. And you see where I'm kind of getting at here? I don't believe the guy who says that he was there. I believe the guy who was there. Your mileage may vary, yada yada, at the bottom, the disclaimer, whatever. You see where I'm going with this, though? Next up, he says that he's not the only one. His right-hand man is Hugo. These two belittle and mistreat people. Treat people like they're stupid, often in front of others. The truth is, they're both talentless, and I think they lash out to many great developers due to insecurity issues. They're bullies. Look, dude, coming from someone who was a bully back in the 1st grade, 6th grade, and grew out of it, seriously, talentless? Hugo was an artist for Pacific Rim. It's a tiny little movie you might have heard of. He also, from what I understand, was behind the 2016 Praetor suit. He's also been able to lead a team and be on streams, having the ability to communicate almost as a community manager, wearing all of these hats and a game developer and designer and all of this stuff. You can't say the man is talentless, okay? You just can't. Now, I understand that people do things to climb up the corporate ladder. I feel like that this is not the case here. I've had great experiences with Hugo. I mean, I interviewed him for some videos. He was always really nice. He came into the Discord back in 2020 to get feedback from the players. He got out there and did some good stuff. Whenever there would be an incident when he and Josh were playing in the streams and a designer did something really great, he would compliment that person by name. He knew his team. He knew was out on the front line. A lot of times you see corporate managers, the suits, that stuff happens and they don't really understand what happens on the ground level with you and I, and they just try to think they do. It's not like that with Hugo. I feel like he's actually on that ground level, and apparently Marty was too. And that little disconnect between the contractor and his software begins to blur as we see an actual employee weigh in on this. Now, I've also noticed that whenever something goes wrong, he will take the responsibility for it. He'll say, hey guys, I'm sorry this didn't turn out the right way. Let me try to make it right. We're going to take your feedback. We might not use it, but we're going to take it and see what we can really make the best out of this whole thing. A friend of mine manages a staff of 6 people for his YouTube channel, and he said that whenever something goes wrong, he says it's on him to make sure that he explained it the best that he could to his employees and takes the understanding that, hey, I need to make sure I'm doing my best as a boss, and not just being a boss, but a leader. I think that's one way where Hugo shines. But the Reddit post, I'm not going to get into details, but they both have careers as politicians, backstabbing and scapegoating their way to power. It definitely wasn't talent or hard work. They're easily the worst thing about it and hold back a talented team. So much of why the reboot is successful is in spite of these two. They fought so many of the best things, and most of the work are things they forced. Okay, look, like I said before, I cannot say guarantee to this or that. I like Hugo. If he's watching it right now, hey man, I hope that this whole thing blows over because it kind of sucks. I mean, it does suck. Now, what I do find interesting is this. After, and I don't know why this person did this, after we had this whole drama of a Reddit post that people believed mostly for 2 years, shoving back in the face, you're going to make another Reddit post and say, please believe me, I'm not lying. Okay, maybe he's not lying. Maybe there's truth. Okay, what reasons do you have? What sources can you do? Can you be a whistleblower and show us all the inside info that you have? No, I'm not going into any details, he says. I'm just going to leave it at that with an anonymous Reddit post, a non-verified account, none of that. I mean, is that not really horrible timing? I think it sounds like, somebody says, I want to stir up some drama. Let's create a Reddit post, expect people to believe it after what just happened, have no sources, and have information that contradicts actual id Software employees and what we have all seen as a community. Not good, huh? If I was an owner at Microsoft, he says, I'd conduct an internal investigation, anonymous feedback from the team. These two have no business being in charge of people and should have been fired years ago. What, these politician backgrounds? Now, I don't believe that he's actually saying Hugo and Marty have background as politicians, but he is saying that the stereotype, unfortunately, which happens to 99% of politicians, they lie and backstab their way to get to the top, and like I said, I understand the corporate ladder behaves the way that it does. However, this is not lining up with what people say. It really sounds like somebody wanted to get some stuff going, drum up some different drama, and make everybody upset, right? But they picked the wrong avenue to do it without all of the information. Mick gave so many receipts, so much detail, and this guy gives us 4 paragraphs of Reddit. If this person is watching right now, this is not a personal attack to you, but as I like to do on this channel, when things come up like this, we have to have a discussion, level-headed, breaking it down like adults, and here we have it here. I just don't think it's it. I hope I'm correct, and if I'm wrong, that sucks a lot. But you know what? Mick didn't really call anybody else out. I have faith in Hugo, alright? I do. I like him. He's a good dude from what I've talked to him in the interviews and everything else. I just think this is somebody wanting to stir up some drama based off the latest events. Check out my nearly 30-minute breakdown of the Mick Gordon situation here. There's a lot of stuff to unpack, and I really think you'll enjoy it. Subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.